Hello, this is D-Roy Cruz again, and just want to share something with you real quick. The name of this guy that is here is, the title of this particular video is "This is Why You Need to Understand Your Value as a Man," and the name of his channel name is Infinite CLZ. I don't know if that means infinite clause or whatever. I never understood what that CLZ is stand for, but the point of the matter is his videos, I watch his content a lot, and he claims to be a Christian. My only problem with him is, and I was trying to find a video where he was viewing this whole thing about men and women. I guess it's way down in my history. I'm too lazy for that. But he was really giving the gospel message when he was talking about men and women. And it might be in this video. I'm not sure, because he does a lot of stand-up talking in this video too, but I don't know. But my point is, he's a really good guy. And you can watch his video, Infinite CLZ. Check him out sometimes. You'll be interested what he says. He says some of the same stuff that I say about men and women, and he's married, but it doesn't look good for him as a married man to be all up into this about who's beautiful and, because, I hate to think that, I know, I'm going to get into the Filipino women in a minute, but I hate to think that any man or any woman, and I know they do it, but I hate to think about the fact that they do it, is that they have a tendency to, engage in things because they know that their spouses are not looking. Okay? And that troubles me. That troubles me. Stop doing that. You know what I'm saying? And then they think that their spouse is okay with it because they never discussed it with her. You getting on here talking about, viewing women on your channel. You're looking at all these women. And you're using, relationships to talk about all these women you viewing. And some of these videos you're looking at are women doing TikTok. They're shaking their behind and stuff like that. And you're saying, see, well, what are you looking at her for? But you want to talk about how you're a happily married man, and you want to talk about, what's wrong with relationships, which you're right. But see, your viewing of this stuff, you got to be careful. Because Christians don't need to view it to talk about it. They seen it. They see it in reality, like I'm talking about right now, and they talk about it. They don't need to go visit TikTok and then criticize it. Go visit this, go visit that, go visit this, go visit that, and then criticize it. Because that's kind of two-faced. That's a double standard. You can't be into something. You can't go into the club and then, call the club a hypocrite, or go into the club and put down the club. You can't go into the VIP section and then put down the women in the VIP section. What were you doing there? You know what I mean? Stop. Okay? And I love his channel and I watch his content. And a lot of content creators. But the cost of it, to me, personally, this is why if I'm married, me and my wife, if I ever get married again, me and my wife will sit down and we will talk about content creation. And, just like Facebook, if we're going to do content, we're going to do it together, or we're going to at least do it where you're sitting there listening to the content that I'm presenting in the videos that I'm viewing for my content, and vice versa. And if I'm ever married again, my wife will not be having her private Instagram channel, her private Twitter her private TikTok and all that crap. It ain't happening. My wife doesn't do TikTok. My woman doesn't do TikTok. She don't do Instagram. She don't do nothing that's all about, she ain't on no dating sites while she with me. And some men are so naive that they will let this go on. Then they wonder why they catch her cheating later. And vice versa. You women, you can't let your men be up in other women's faces. It's one thing if your man and he's handsome and all like that, and these women are wicked and they're coming around your man, and your man is like, how you doing? And he's nice about it. He's walking away and they're like, okay, baby, you gonna come back over here again and talk to me later, baby? Okay, that's different. No, he's not coming over there later, He gonna show you the ring, But, this is the problem in America. Okay? And you want to laugh at me, I'm laughing at you. Because you can't argue with me about this stuff. Okay? If you are married and your wife wants you to take her to clubs, whether it be, or your wife wants to take you to clubs so you can have a good time, that's a dangerous thing. And what's going to happen is later on, she gonna smooth it in there. She gonna surprise you when she say, "Oh, you ever think about doing third party sex? Bringing in a threesome or whatever." Too many people are getting married and have no clue that marriage belongs to the kingdom of God. Marriage is not secular. It's not worldly. Marriage is 100% Bible. Nobody ever came up with the idea but the Bible. And marriage is supposed to show the difference between the boys and the girls versus the men and the women. Real men, real women get married even at a young age. They get married. And they say, I'm not going to play games with the whole, male smorgasbord or the whole female smorgasbord. I'm not going to play games with the nightlight and go out. And I'm not going to play games with, who I might have sex with. What one guy can do in what one guy can do in bed versus what another guy can do in bed. See, the marriage relationship and the idea of men and women connecting with each other. It's not the gift of gab. It's not about the gift of gab. It's not about a talent that one guy has over another. One guy got all the hype and the other guy. And women, just like men have to ignore the fact that women are extremely beautiful and they make our, they give us erections, especially when we're young. They give us erections everywhere we go, and that's the law of nature. However, men are supposed to ignore, real men are supposed to ignore the whole idea of women flaunting themselves, okay, and flashing themselves, and women vice versa. And you're not supposed to let guys come up and play you right into their bedroom. And there's a lot of guys out there today that'll get on here on YouTube here and they'll admit it, that they'll go out and they'll sleep with married women, and they will, and their excuse is either a married woman a married woman will fall for it or she wasn't. You know what a lot of men are doing with a lot of women today? They're saying, "Oh yeah, I sleep with all kinds of women," and they said if a woman is really faithful to her man, he won't be able to sleep with her. Well, he's right. He says, if a woman is faithful to her man, he won't be able to convince her into his bedroom no matter what. See, me, I'm into a woman that would tell a woman up front, and I've seen women do this on the street. I've seen women get all manly with a man and say, look, I'm going to tell you one more time. I'm not for sale. I'm not a prostitute. I'm not a hoe. Okay? And I'm not to be played with. I have a boyfriend. Matter of fact, I have a fiance. You don't see the ring? Okay? Look, move on. Last time I'm going to tell you. Next time I have to tell you, it's going to be 911. Sometimes that's the way women got to be. And you know that these men are coming. But because you love your husband, that is what submissiveness actually is. That's what submissiveness is. When a woman was willing to be faithful to her husband, not only at home where he can see her. Ain't nobody coming over unless you invite them. So what's the point of being faithful at home? No, you need to be faithful on the street when your husband ain't nowhere around. When you at work and these men are coming up to you and they holding you up because they trying to get you to blush. They trying to get you to laugh. They trying to get you to come out of your shy shell. That's when you need to show the world that you love your husband. And I know when I was married, men used to try to test my wife. And women used to try to test me. They see us together. We in the same room together. They trying to test us against each other. And my wife, this is why I'm divorced, she would get mad no matter what. It didn't matter if I won, if I passed. I passed the test every time. And I began to tell her, and she used to get jealous over the most dumbest stuff. Like one time she got jealous because I helped. There's this little girl. She had to be like a freshman in high school. She was the boss's daughter. Okay. My wife got mad because I kept going over there to help her with stuff. And this is what I told her. I says, okay, I can either go over there and help her with her load. She's trying to do a load that she know she don't have to carry, and her boss father knows he didn't put her out here to carry that load. But this is what's going to happen. He can come in here and make me go over there and stand there with her until her load is all in the machine. While you sit here and watch, and it's just business. Now, it'd be different if I was over there, okay, helping her with her load, and I'm asking her 100 questions, and she's flirting and blushing and all like that. But she grabs a load, and she looks around and see what one of these Negroes is going to come over there and help her, you know what I mean? And whether we still living in slave times or whether we, it's just the protocol of the job. Finally, this old, wrinkly white man come over there. He got tired, or he thought I was getting all the credit. He came over there and decided to lift the load for her. But either way, she wasn't going to put that heavy load in those machines because she's the boss's daughter, number one. And number two, don't none of the women there, black, white, ugly, skinny, fat, obese, whatever, put their own load in the machine. Back in them days anyway. You ain't got the muscle to put that stuff in the machine like that. As soon as I saw that girl, I ran over there. I'm like, what is she doing? She ought to know that you get a man to put all the stuff in the machine and run the machine for you first. Then you go over there and do that. She just trying to help out dad. She wasn't being smart. So therefore, my wife won't get mad at me because this girl's not being smart, and I'm going over there to, you know, and I went over there. I said, you know what? She's looking around like, who's going to help me? I said, I got this. And I went over there. I wasn't trying to, and this girl was hot. I got to admit, she was hot. But that's not why I went over there. I was over there yesterday, the next day. You know, when my wife wasn't around. With the obese girl. And she was black and ugly. It don't matter. She's a woman. She ain't got no business lifting that load. Okay? And I'm a gentleman. Now I've seen some dykish women lift that load and put it in there. But they don't have to because they're women. Because us men, we respect our women like that. Our American women like that. Okay? But, you know, when I told my wife that, like, oh, her dad, if he see her putting that load in her, he gonna say, hey, Cruz. Hey, Cruz. Make sure she gets her load in there, and then you can go back over there. And I've seen it happen before, where you get these lazy bums in there that don't know how to be a gentleman. Even if a black woman's, and it ain't a racial thing, because even if a black woman is over there putting her load in there, they're going to tell a man to come over there and put the load in because that's his job. They don't expect a woman to be putting the load in there by herself, because the thing is, if she does that, now the scores have changed. Now you got women working harder than the men because they're weaker, they're the weaker sex, so they have to do more in order to keep up. So she's working harder than the men are. See? And that wouldn't be fair. And we don't look at things that way, but that's the way it is. You know, if you put a woman in the military and try to make her keep up with you, you're making her work harder than you. That's the truth. That's why she shouldn't be there. Okay? That's just my Christian humble opinion. Okay? Because it's not about disrespecting women. It's about respecting women, protecting women. Women don't have to do much. Women are here to be wives and childbearers. They're not here to be sweating. They're not here to be, you know, climbing trees and climbing poles and lifting heavy loads and driving trucks and digging in the dirt and getting dirty and all that stuff. Women ain't supposed to be doing that crap. That's a man's job. Okay? And ever since we started allowing women to do that kind of stuff, and some of them, because they so dykish like that, they do it with a smile on their face. Guess what? Now you have a problem with submissiveness in marriage. Because these same women will go and clean all the mud off themselves and then decide that they want to be a wife. But they don't know what that entails because they already crossed the line by doing a man's job before they even got married. Okay? That's enough of that. I'm doing part 2 of talking about relationships, men and women, how, you know, men and women are attracted to each other that puts them in a bind. The boundary and snares of attraction. Okay? That's what I'm going to title these videos. Boundaries and snares of attraction. Okay? Now, I said in the last video, whatever a man does to get a woman, she loses what other men have to offer, and vice versa. Whatever a woman does to get a man, he loses what other women have to offer because now he's hitched. He is with his woman. And once you are with your woman, it does not matter what your talents are. You don't get to, you know, make women laugh just because you're a comedian. That's what I do. Yeah, but you're using that ability to be a comedian because, you know, you're using that to flirt with other women. While your wife is supposed to be sitting at home talking about, well, you know, my husband's a comedian. But you know she don't like it. She's very uncomfortable about it. Okay? I know women who use their cooking to flirt with other men, even right next to their husband. I had a guy one time that I worked with, you know. another security job I had years ago. He would bring food to his job along with his food for another man because his wife knew the boss. And she liked the boss because she had a run-in with the boss. She liked him, and he invited him over his house for one day for a beer, and his wife had some pie in the oven, and his wife offered him a piece of pie. He said, "Oh, sure. If it's not too much trouble, that'd be fine." So he had the pie, and now his wife is always asking her husband about his friend that came over his house that day. And so it's like he comes to work, and every time she bakes a certain pie, she brings one for his boss at work, his boss friend. And one day, he gave him the pie, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I don't get to eat my pie in peace. I got to have one for you, too. Here's my wife just, and when he walked out of the room, the guy's still talking about it. He says, "Yeah, my wife just loves him for some reason." And he wasn't smiling about it. "Yeah, every time she makes me a pie, she got to make him one." And me and him looked at each other that ain't fair, man. That ain't fair. And I told him, I said, "Wow, that's oops. It's one thing I got to worry about here is that. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. It's amazing I don't go out of recording when that happens. Good. But I said to him, I says, I didn't want to say much because, I know people are like that. My wife, I'd have told her, I ain't taking no pie to him. What you doing? But some women are like this. And women, and I think in a woman's case, a lot of times, women aren't as creepy as men. I think women in a lot of times don't realize that her man wants to be her only man. And they, and a lot of women see marriage as just like, women think that, a lot of women anyway, think that if they're sleeping with a man, they're giving him everything. Excuse my French, but pussy didn't create the world. Okay? All right? And pussy don't make nobody rich but the woman. Unless, of course, somebody's pimping you. Then he's cheating you out of your money. Okay, ladies? So cut the crap. Pussy is free. Wherever it's given. If you're making money for it, it's a scam. Okay? Because no pussy is worth a single dime. Okay? Because nobody's going to get up in the morning and become a new person because they slept with the most beautiful girl in the world last night. You still got to go to the same job. You still broke. Okay? You still, you know what I'm saying, a low-life nobody. You just got done sleeping with the most beautiful woman in the world, and all you can do is brag about it, and some people don't even believe you. And even if they do believe you, that makes her a slut. That just makes her look bad if they decide that they want to believe you. Women thinking that their vaginas are made of gold needs to stop. And that's all the more reason why you need to protect your so-called gold. Because in God's eyes, your vaginas are gold. That's why you shouldn't be sharing them with anybody. And that's why the man that enters that gold arena or that gold cave or whatever, he's the only man worthy to enter that cave. But that don't mean that you can let all the other men come close to the cave. You know what I'm saying? You can let all the other men stand outside the cave and drool and spit and wish and hope. Get some free apple pie out of it. Because they can't come all the way in. That needs to stop. Okay? That needs to stop. Your wife is your wife, and whenever she becomes your wife, every other man, I don't care if it's your boss, your daddy, her daddy, you lose whatever benefits that you was getting before. It don't matter how close friends you are. You don't get my wife's apple pie every time she give me one. You don't get a piece of pie every time I get a piece of pie. She's sleeping with both of us? Okay, let's stop acting like she is then. I'd have threw that pie, and I'd have took that pie and just bam, put it right on her head. Are you out of your cotton picking mind? I'm not giving him a pie every time you bake me one. Who the heck is he? My fornicator boss. You want to be with him? Go be with him. This is the problem in America today. Men and women don't understand just how much faithfulness is lacking in America. If you get married, for whatever reason you were attracted to this knucklehead, okay? Kevin Hart ain't coming over to the front desk to make you laugh anymore. Cat Williams ain't coming over. Dave Chappelle ain't coming over. You just lost your friendship with them. They can say something funny while they walking by to everybody. But as far as coming up to you, because you so pretty, them days are over. And vice versa, the men. You go out there, you see these beautiful women. You want to say something to her so bad. She looks so good in them jeans. She looks so good in that dress. She's so pretty the way she wear her makeup. Oh, that rear end. Oh, my God. I got to say something. No. Have a nice day, ma'am. God darn, she's walking away. God darn, I wanted to say something to her. Oh, God. Sorry, buddy, it's over. You better go home and say something to your wife. Hey, baby, try these jeans on. I don't know, baby. I just feel like today I'm in the mood for jeans. But then when she put them jeans on, they'll say, man, your booty look almost as good as hers. You know, don't say that. Don't say that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, you just lost it. Every piece of cooch that you could have been screwing, if you get married, okay, you just lost it all. You're done for life. You need to understand that. But a lot of people come into a marriage understanding that their marriage has an expiration date. Like a lot of people in Hollywood, they know they're not going to be married to the same person till they retire. They know that. They know they're not going to stay married to this man. He know he ain't going to stay married to this woman. They probably even agreed that they wasn't going to stay married when they got married. So how long you want this? You want to get divorced tomorrow, babe? When do you want to get a divorce? You want to get a divorce? I tell you what. I'll raise your sum up to $50,000 more if you stay with me for the rest of the year, and then we'll make some kind of thing in the internet to explain why we divorced. Meanwhile, they was out there, you know, they were together for the media for some reason, but they knew they was cheating on each other. I don't understand Hollywood. I don't understand Hollywood. But anyway, whatever a man does to get a woman, she loses what other men have to offer, and vice versa. Marriage is visual. Just like women are visual, men are visual. Okay, women look at men and they think they're cute and all like that. Men look at women and they think they're cute, and vice versa. Vice versa. Okay, but marriage, when a man and a woman are together, it is cute. And when people see you together, I'm really turned on by women who have their husbands pick them up, even if their husband is even if they just want to show the woman what they got and flash him in front of the other woman. The good thing is the men that work there are seeing the same thing. And when men see how much you are attracted sexually to your husband, and they see how much you love your husband so much by the way you just show him off to people, okay, whether he's tall, short, He looked like Denzel Washington. He looked like, Kobe Bryant, whatever. Okay? You showing him off. Okay? What's going to happen is the men are going to treat you like a plague. And when they come around you, they're going to talk about your husband. And the women, they're going to piss you off a little bit because they're going to talk too much about your husband. Like, where'd you land him? Girl, you got it. Give me 5, girl. You got it going on, girl. Okay? And you're going to be like, okay, stop. You say another word about how tall my husband is, how tall, dark, and handsome my husband is. You say another word about my husband's legs or his shoes, I'm going to go off. Okay? But that's how you got to be. Okay? I tell men all the time when they tell me about another woman, I say, you need to talk about your wife. What are you telling me about her for? I can't give you no credit for that. You need to be talking about your wife. Does your wife know? Why don't you tell your wife about that other woman? Why are you telling me? Tell your wife. I don't want to hear no locker room talk. Tell your wife about that other woman. That's just like I got a friend who calls a woman that just died. I did this in another video. He calls her Buttercup. I says, why are you calling Miss Coleman Buttercup for? Was you doing something with Miss Coleman behind your wife's back? You married, right? Does your wife know you call Miss Coleman Buttercup? Brother, she did. That was my girl. That was my homie. Buttercup was your homie. Listen, said Griff, look, listen. Call your wife. When you go to the funeral, tell your wife, I'm willing to sit down with you. I want to hear you sit down. I will come to the funeral if you sit down with me and your wife and explain to us why you call Tracy Coleman Buttercup. And I told her before, you a married man. She shouldn't be in your car getting free rides from you. And he got really mad when I told him that. I said, yeah, I used to tell her that. Because I said, if his wife ever finds out that you're getting free rides from her husband, that's why her husband's a little bit late coming home, she's going to be ready to go off on both of y'all. And after that, she quit. She says, no, I can get the bus. I'll wait for my son to come pick me up, blah, 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 blah. Because she knew that was wrong. Okay? But this is the world we live in, where you don't think. You just jump in some guy's car. You just get up in some guy's face. His wife driving up the street. You just sitting down next to some woman. Her husband driving down the street. Okay? This is the problem with attraction in America. You don't know how to handle it. Okay? Women, but see, I'm going to say it one more time. When you're married, talk about your husband, talk about your wife a lot. And you will see the difference between all the women that hang around you and as well as all the men around you. They will treat you a certain way when you're always talking about your husband or your wife. I said this in a video a while back too, where a man was in Giant Eagle. The guy I used to work with, me and him's talking in an owl. This beautiful woman shows up that he met in another owl. And she's like, they're talking, he's talking about all the stuff that he's got to print for his job. He's the manager of his job. He got to print all this stuff. He says, I'm not computer literate and all this stuff. And the woman's like, well, I can print it for you. I can do it for you. He looked at her and he says, no. My wife can do it for me. And she went, like that was a slap in the face because, back in high school they used to flirt. But she knows they both been married since then. Now she's divorced, but, she's only been divorced for a minute. Her husband's still out there, her husband's still involved in her life, and he's been happily married for the last 5 years. He said, oh, no. My wife can do that for me. My wife loves to do this kind of stuff for me. And I looked at her like, I believe it's your move. And she was just like pale, like, enough of that. Okay, women are attracted to introverts, which is dumb, as well as the gift of gab, which helps, but it's not an attraction. It's a gift. Not for just getting women, but for getting everybody. I appreciate a man that's got the gift of gab. because he helps the day go by quick. But you know what I notice? Every man and every woman has the gift of gab, depending on what you're talking about. Just like if you want to talk about Jesus, if you want to talk about what's wrong with the Democratic Party and liberalism and how much of a screw up Joe Biden is and the crap that they crap about against Donald Trump and all that stuff, I got the gift of gab. We can talk about this all night. But you want to talk to me about other women when I know you got a woman at home? I don't have the gift of gab. The only thing I can say is stop showing me pictures. Show your woman those pictures. Show your woman those pictures and then come back and show them to me. Because my concern, you got me worrying about your woman. Because to me, if my woman was at work sharing photos of other men with women at work, I swear I'd take my gun and shoot her. Or I would just be like, I got your bags packed. That guy that you was looking at work, I gave him your phone number. Okay? He should be calling you any minute. Pack your stuff and go out on the porch and wait for him with your slut behind. He gonna pick you up. I'm done with you. Obviously, you ain't satisfied with what you got. I done called the brother. He can come pick you up. Okay? His name is Dante. Last name is Mandingo. Dante Mandingo. He coming to pick you up out front. I got your bags packed. Okay? He'll be here. I told him to be here. You know, he's running a little bit late. He's probably screwing his mistress before he gets here. Okay, so he's going to be a little bit late. But he's out there waiting for you. That's the way I'd be. If I don't go, oops, I forgot to lock the trigger. God darn it. Oh, man. Oh. But, you know, this is what we do in America today. Okay? Women are attracted to introverts as well as the gift of gab. Introverts are people who are like shut in and don't communicate until you pull them out of their shell, and then they're real slow to give you any information about themselves or to even have the gift of gab with you even after you're speaking their subject, because they're real personal about their subjects. They're real personal about everything. They're real touchy about everything. But to a lot of women, as well as a lot of men, when women are introverts like that, if they can get inside there and get you to open up to them and get you to vent on them, then it's all that much more the prize. And that's why both men and women love introverts a lot of times, because if you can get into that shell and crack that shell and get that person to trust you and open up to you, it gets very romantic really, really fast. So I understand. Okay, I've met women that were introverted, especially foreign women that were introverted, you know, like that, and because they were foreign and they were afraid of Americans, and you know, you open them up. I remember an Indian woman. I don't even like Indians. Well, I wouldn't say I don't like Indians. It's mainly the men. They just so arrogant. I can't be in the same room with them sometimes. But their women are cute. And, you know, I met a Muslim woman in a laundromat one time, and she wanted to ask me about bounce sheets. And that was the only thing she said. But then I went up to her and I explained to her. I said, do you use bounce sheets? And we started talking. And I realized she was one of them kind of introverted people. And she opened up to me. And she was talking so fast, once she vented, I could barely make out what she was saying. But it was fun. Men and women are the plan of love and reproduction. Men and women are the plan of love and reproduction. That's what they are. They are not comedy and the gift of making other people blush and the gift of making people want to take their clothes off, okay, illicitly, or anything like that, okay? Men and women are the plan of love and reproduction. And if you love somebody, you put them first. You want to put them with the right man and with the right woman, even if it's not you. Let me say that again. If you love somebody and you know you got these gifts that will cause you to cheat on a man or cheat on a woman, where one man, one woman ain't enough. Okay? If you love someone, if you love your neighbor as yourself, you will put her or him with the right person, even if that means it's not you. Because that's what the love, when we say God is love, that's what we're talking about. Love is nothing physical. It's all spiritual and mental and intellectual. It's not physical. Okay? That's the kind of love that God wants us to have. Spiritual, emotional, intellectual first. Then worry about the physical stuff. Okay? Women who innocently discipline their husbands. Now, women who are good wives, whether their husbands are good husbands or not, you know a good wife when she don't let her husband do anything, even if it's cute. She don't let her husband do anything to another person. If there's a road rage, she's going to discipline her husband. If some man accidentally spills a drink on him or her, and they know it was an accident because the dude was drunk, wasn't watching where he was going, or somebody bumped him while he was walking into you, or whatever, a good man is going to understand it was an accident. He's going to say, "No bad, man. Can you give me a rag to clean up my wife? And I got to take my wife upstairs, get her clothes changed," or, and if a man want to, give him money for her dress or whatever, that's fine. But if he ain't got it, that's fine too. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? A man doesn't need to be an a-hole. And that's the problem we have in America today, is everybody's attracted to the typical a-hole until the a-hole starts getting a-hole on them. Then they want to pull out their gun, or they want to call their boyfriend, or they want to call a cop. But as long as he was being an a-hole to somebody else, you was okay with that. When he was raping that girl on the bus, okay, you was taking pictures. And then you're going to get on there and say, "Oh, well, I think the jail sentencing is wrong. You shouldn't be letting people be in jail for this amount of time and that amount of time." Okay, well, you stood there and watched that thing. And you did nothing. Okay? Then you want to go up against guns, and you stood there and watched that thing. The dude should be dead, and you know it, okay? For what he did, okay? Or at least dead while he was in the process of doing it, You stood there and watched it. You took pictures. You got it on video. That's how the cops knew about it. But you think he doesn't deserve the punishment. You think that girl, that poor girl, doesn't have to live through this the rest of her life. And that's the extent of it. But I'm just saying, men being a-holes, period, by the way they talk to other men's wives. Men, the way they approach women, period. The way they handle their co-workers and that. A lot of men are a-holes. They're a-holes. And one of the best examples of a woman that disciplines her husband, and that's the only reason why they're still together, I was there. We had here, and I'm closing, we had the Virginia play Pitt. Back when I worked as a, years ago when I worked as a security officer in a parking garage. I worked for University of Pittsburgh. This was the first time I worked for University of Pittsburgh. I worked in their parking garages out there. And my boss told me, he says, "Now these Virginia guys that are coming in, they're real rowdy and they're very disrespectful." He says, "I hate dealing with them. They're all a bunch of a-holes." That's what he said. He says, "But I want you to go up to the second and top level on the roof. I don't want nobody parking up there until everybody's in, and that's all the space that we have left, because we have to save some space for our regular customers. They don't get to take up the whole parking garage. And they don't get to park illegally. They're going to come here. They're already drunk when they get here. Make sure they park correctly and all like that." So I'm up there, and a guy passes me when I got the tape there. I got the tape. He sees me pulling the tape. He goes right up under the tape, goes up to the top. So I get on the elevator, I go up to the top. I says, my man, whoa, 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 whoa. They getting out of the car. They beat me up there. They got a parking space. They the only ones on the roof. I get up there, I say, sir, you didn't read the sign, my brother. Like, you can't be up here. He's like, why, man? I says, because we're reserving these parking spaces for the last people to come in here. He says, I am the last person to come in here. You think? And I says, no. You're not the last person that comes in here because the game doesn't start till 3 hours from now. We have up to the last, 50 minutes before the game starts to get everybody in here. Okay? The parking garage is still open. We're not closing it yet. He says, well, man, I'm up here now, so live with it. I said, no, you need to get in your car and take your car back down to the next level behind the red tape, not in front of it, okay? Or I'm going to have the police come and tow it. So he gets up in my face, and his wife hit him with a purse. She said, are you out of your cotton picking mind? Get in the car and take it back down to the next level. Oh, he's like, this short mother effer think he gonna punk me. I said, sir, I work here. I'm just doing my job. And she's like, Lewis, get in the car and let's go back down to the next level like the officer said. Finally, she said, if you don't get in the car, I'm not going to the game with you. Neither am I going home with you. I'm going to my mother's house. My mother lives right here in Pittsburgh. And I got no problem going to see my mom because I ain't seen her in a while. She's going to be glad to see me. Now, I suggest you get your butt in this car and take it down to the next level. Or I'm going to get on the elevator and go down to the bottom, and I'm going to get a ride to see my mother. Which is it? And I was like backing up like, Mama Bear got this under control. Whoa. He looked at her and looked at me. He was like, son of a bitch. Got in the car, went down to the next level, and he knew he was in trouble. He knew he was going to be in the doghouse tonight. Okay? And he tried to put his arm around her while they were getting out of the car. She said, get off me. You're embarrassing and disgracing. And this is the thing. A lot of these men that have these talents to attract women are also eventually going to embarrass their wives. And they're going to, women like men that are radical, that are able to break the rules and all like that. But when it comes time when you tried to break the rules and you got caught trying to break the rules, okay, the party's over. When you were being an a-hole and you were and somebody was about to be an a-hole right with you, the party's over now, isn't it? When you about to put somebody in the hospital or get put in the hospital trying to impress your woman, the party, that's a game changer, isn't it? Now it's a different thing now. We're on a different universe now. And my favorite is when you about to get shot or jumped trying to show off for your woman. You was being an a-hole. You didn't know half the room was on his side. And his wife ain't scared, but look who's scared now. His wife ain't scared because she gonna walk away and let you get your butt kicked. Because she knows all these years you've been asking for it. She gonna tell him, hey, just don't hurt him too bad. Okay? And I've seen women do it. I've seen women walk out of the room and let their husband let him get his butt whooped. And I'm calling the police and everything. And I'm like, dude, y'all gonna let them jump that guy like that? He got what he deserved. And they told me the story about how he treats her a certain way and treats everybody around him a certain way. And it was cute, but it ain't cute no more. And they jumped him and the dude still went to prison. Because he was just a jerk like that. Okay? But anyway, I am D-Roy Cruz, and thank you for spending this time with me. I'm going to stop here, and I got more to say about this subject on this channel. So, look for the notification, and stay in tune with me, and I'll see you soon with more, either today or tomorrow or within a day or a week or so. I don't know. I just do these things when they come to my mind. So God bless you. Thanks for watching.